name is Adrian Nanchev, and this channel is all about championing hemp's use and bringing it into the mainstream conscience. So, click on the subscribe button below and press the bell notification next to it for the latest uploads. Now, how does marijuana stigma affect hemp and hemp adoption? I was doing a bit of research and I came across this video of Representative Steve King, Republican of, I want to say Ohio, I can't remember, Ohio I believe. He was talking in the House, I'm not quite sure, one of the houses in 2013 when it was there was a bill being debated about hemp legalization, hemp adoption. And his main quarrel with why hemp was not being legalized in the States was because he was worried, and arguably rightfully so, that people would not be able to distinguish between marijuana or cannabis and hemp. Now, frankly, there's a big difference between cannabis and hemp. Like for example, hemp plants are much more thin. They look like this. They look like that. The plant's a lot thinner, whereas cannabis or marijuana is much more thicker, and there's a bit more of them as well, a bit more leaves on the actual plant stem. As well as, I'm 5'9", 173 centimeters. The cannabis plant probably goes up to here, fully grown up to here. I'm not quite sure what's that, 5 foot, 4 foot something, I'm not quite sure. That's probably about 140 centimeters. Whereas the hemp plant probably, oh gosh, 7 or so foot. Complete different. Visually speaking, they're completely different. And plus also, cannabis has a very poignant smell depending on what terpenes and what kind of strand it is. And I don't imagine that hemp plant has much of a smell. Plus they tend to grow outdoors and the cannabis ones tend to grow indoors. But his concern is that people will not be able to distinguish is a problem for the cannabis and hemp movement, because that shows that we need to educate people more at a grassroots level as to what the differences are. What's the differences in height, the differences in look, distinguish it. Just how people these days can distinguish between, say a Toyota and a Ferrari. They're cars, 4 wheels, steering wheel, there's windows and all the rest, 4, 5 doors. What's the difference? Oh, there's a difference in silhouette, there's a difference in colour, a difference in angle. The logo looks different. Just the more minute details. So that's a stigma that I think that hemp community, and something I will work on as well, that we need to work towards and to challenge from an educational and preferably a grassroots angle as well. Because I personally don't want to really rely on government and doing government educational programs, because they are, loss of control. If I have the knowledge and the content and the distribution, do it myself. And I urge you to do the same as well. If you understand the differences quite intricately, start promoting it, start talking about it. So that's the stigma. Steve King was concerned people would not be able to tell the difference. So that is an opportunity and a challenge, an obstacle for us to overcome. Educating people the differences. And then he will have no real excuse, no real reason to object to the bill. Which is good, because the more public knowledge we have of the differences, the more aware, the more willing they are to actually have it, and more willing they are to adopt it. So the question of the day is, how do you think you can go about educating people about hemp? I'm going about it through videos like this, and this video is only just the beginning of it all. So my vision for We Want Hemp is to champion hemp's use and bring it into the mainstream conscience. So that's it. So how are you? The question of the day is, how are you doing your part in the movement? Subscribe if you haven't already, and click on the bell notification for the latest uploads. How cool is that?